Howdy! Michael, a Mercedes guy here, and these dual carb Zenith carbs came on the 250s, 280s, 108s, 114 cars, and they'll start acting up, especially if the car has sat for a long time. So, the easy way to try first is just to pull off the top of the carb and not pull the carb off the engine. So now, okay, we've got all these screws around the perimeter. But you'll never get that top off unless you take out the hidden screw that's right in the middle. And you release the choke arm. Now I've already released this one, and on this model it's a screw. On 114s it's actually hidden in here. There's a protrusion up, and it's a tiny set screw. So once you release that, then you can take that part off, and you see the screw I'm talking about that's hidden in there. Okay. Now, we still have the mid piece, and it'll be either one or two screws. Let's get that. Okay. And also a screw right here. And if you're lucky, you'll still have the carb tag, although it's probably impossible to read. Then this comes off. Okay, and you can see how funky that is in there. Okay, this is a wire brush from a battery cleaning tool. The tool is like plastic, and it have a hole with a brush internally as well. I removed this and put this in an electric drill. Then I can go down in here and really scour the inside of this float bowl. Okay, and then the next step, compressed air and blast into these orifices. Now, let me back up a second. When you're removing the carburetor, you've got a gasket. And when you're pulling this gasket off, pardon me, the top of the carburetor off, you want to observe what you're doing and use a knife blade to either have the gasket stay on the carb or come off with this part. That way you can use the gasket over again. And as you can see, this came off very nicely. Okay, next step is to take the screw out of your float so you can remove the float valve and test that by blowing on it and blasting some compressed air through. Then remove these screws and these, blast them with compressed air, and blast out the holes. Now this little teeny one, don't bother. Most of the time you try to unscrew that in order to break the tab off. So don't bother with that. Now this chamber right here is the accelerator pump. So this screw right here, you want to take that out for two reasons. One, to clean in here, but also you want to push your pump out. Now don't be sticking a small screwdriver in there or you'll damage things. What you want to use is the end of a drill. The reason being, that's a piece of plastic. You can puncture a hole in it. You don't want that. So with that out, now you can clean the accelerator pump chamber. Okay, so I'm taking a big drill bit and wrap some fine sandpaper around it. Then I can put that in here and up and down around the whole cylinder. And then also remove these two jets. Note which side where they go, because they are a different size. And underneath there are going to be another set of jets, and they are also a different size side to side. Let's see if we can get one out. Yes. So you want to clean these, blast it. You can see how that's funky. And then blast through all those holes and here with compressed air. And clean this with compressed air. And the jets that you took out of here, compressed air. And then, of course, blow out all orifices with compressed air. And sometimes it helps to kind of bend this, that's a flexible either leather or rubber, and get that as flexible as possible. And when you put it back in, be very careful that you don't bite off the edge with this ledge right here. So if it goes in easy, fine. If not, push something against that lip so that it goes down in the chamber. And now, something that happens with these that causes a problem, and that is that this plastic will actually expand a little bit, and it will hit on this housing right here, or hit on this side. So with the float in, you want to run it through its motions, and if it hits either side, use your grinder and carefully take off a little bit of this edge so that it's free. And then once you've blasted everything clean and put everything back together, you can reassemble. Now, this lever right here, that's your accelerator pump lever. It's got to sit on top of this little roller right here. And this has to go through that hole. Now, note I'm holding that float up. we go. And just do a reassembly if it's one screw or two screws. And put the top back on. It also has a gasket that you want to be careful when you remove it, so that it either stays with this part or goes with the top. Now, even if the gasket breaks, as long as you don't remove any pieces of the gasket, you can put it back together and it will probably work. Now, there's also one part I almost forgot. This is a little jet right here. And that, you can pull it out, blast it with air as well. And you want to pull that out to start with. I should have mentioned that, because you'll tip this upside down and it will fall and you might lose it. Now, sometimes these are so corroded in that even if you try to grab this with pliers, it won't pull out. And if you squeeze too much, you'll actually mash that hole closed. So if it doesn't want to come out easily, don't force it. Anyway, once you put in the one or two screws, you can put this back together. And this is adjusted, this arm up, with this closed, is the adjustment. And normally you can see where the arm was, or you can even mark it where that little rod arm is into this adjustment right here. Now, these are very finicky carbs to adjust. There are several adjustments. Here, the choke, your bypass valve, all of that. You can actually find those adjustments online. Now, I just did this to a 114 coupe I had. It wouldn't run worth a dang. I cleaned it up, put it together, took a couple hours, now it runs great.